Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
He was getting his hair cut and he kind of rushed out and kind of left out already. I'm waiting for payments, and then he storms out, left, and there was a text message that I'll share with you where he made a comment talking about, I don't know if I want to be here anymore, which made me feel like he might try to end himself or end his life.
In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. Stop. Is that true? I don't want you to understand. I want you to overstand.
Yes, sir.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. That's not gonna happen. Not up in here, not today. And boom goes the dynamite.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Malik Reed says he opened up to his barber about personal struggles and says he lost his job after the defendant told his employer he was dealing with mental health issues.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
Mr. Reed is suing Evan Carlisle in the amount of $15,000.
All parties have been sworn, Your Honor.
Third Deputy Thomas. Mr. Reed, you want $15,000, the maximum in Georgia, because you feel as though there was interference with respect to your livelihood and employment.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Reed, you were the one who initially put the plaintiff in a position to even take advantage of the opportunity, yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's start with you, Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Your Honor, it seems like I've been a victim of pretty much being a breadwinner. And honestly...
You're the victim of being a breadwinner.
Yes, sir. To kind of elaborate on that, I've been knowing my barber for 3 years. He's been cutting my hair.
Mr. Carlisle is your barber?
Yes, sir.
And so the two of you, do you have a relationship outside of the chair?
No, not really.
How would you describe the relationship, sir?
I mean, I describe it pretty good, Your Honor. I can't even lie. I stopped going to therapy. And the reason why I stopped going to therapy, I felt like I really wasn't getting nothing out of therapy.
What made you decide to go to therapy in the first place?
Just kind of dealing with the troubles of not being able to provide for your family.
All right. So you were having financial challenges that you weren't bringing home enough monies to cover your costs.
Yes, sir.
And how long were you in therapy?
I was in therapy for about 7 months.
And you felt as though it was monies that was not being well spent?
Yes, sir.
Because you had to pay for it, yes?
Yes, sir.
But you already were having challenges in terms of making ends meet, and you took on the other expense. So you must have felt that there was something worth going into that therapeutic situation.
Yes, Your Honor. When you married, sometimes you got a choice, but in other times, like they say,
now, was the therapy just for you, or was it couples therapy?
Well, it was just for me. I was dealing with just personal problems in my head about just not having a job.
All right. And why did you make it a point to share this with me, that you were in therapy, sir?
I made it a point to share with you because it shows you that I was putting forth the effort to get better instead of being suicidal or not wanting to be here.
Well, did you have those thoughts?
Not at all, sir. I've only was laid off for about 6 months. Wasn't enough time for me to just end it off, leave my beautiful wife and kids.
Okay, so then you said this twice now in terms of this, the thought process associated with not wanting to remain alive. And you're saying that you didn't have those thoughts.
Correct.
And you're saying, as his barber, you had a front row seat, if you will, because typically if you're sitting there in the chair, you're engaging in conversation.
Exactly, Your Honor. If I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
As you know, and especially the black community, when you go get your hair cut at the barbershop, that is what some may consider a safe place, a place where you can kind of, feel comfortable with your barber. I see you with the fresh lineup. If you need to see me, I can get with you too after this is over. I like what you got going on over there. So I've been cutting the,
Flattery will get you everywhere.
I got you. So I've been cutting this hair, and yeah, we did become friends over time. People find themselves getting comfortable in my chair, and they end up telling me everything. I know some of the cats who cut my hair, they cheating on their wives, not the defendant here, but sometimes they get a little personal with what they have going on in their personal life. So I think he found himself getting a little too comfortable in my chair. He probably should have kept that therapy session going, y'all.
Well, at the same time, it sounds like not only were you absorbing the information he was sharing with you, but that you were trying to be proactive and do something about his circumstance.
Of course, of course. I mean, I'm not
Because
saying I'm a
didn't you-
shoulder, he could have leaned on, but I was there for him.
Wasn't it your idea for him to get in contact with the employer that's the basis of this suit to begin
That
with?
is correct, Your Honor.
How did that come about, sir?
So, I introduced him to a friend of mine that I've known for, just as long as I've been cutting hair. He does a lot of events in the city. He works with youth. And I
You
thought
all
that
are in Atlanta, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
And I thought that he might be a good fit since he's been looking for work, he's been looking for a job. He coming to the barbershop, late, you know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for payment sometimes, so I know he's been going through some tough times. I'm only so patient I can be. If you're not coming to the barbershop with your cash in hand, it's not typical for barbers to try to be flexible and work with you. You usually have to pay right at the time, but there's been occasions where, I'm gonna cash app you tomorrow or the money's coming later. And I've been
always
patient.
set you straight, though.
And I've been patient with him, Your Honor. But after listening for so long.
Is there a balance that's due in terms of money?
He still owe me money right now.
Is that true, sir?
That's a nice suit.
Sir. No, sir. I paid late. I mean, he knew I was struggling. That's why he offered to give me a job. I would pay late, a week at most, but I don't owe him anything.
You didn't file any sort of countersuit saying that monies were owed for services rendered.
Yeah, because I also consider him a friend. So I'm not sweating the small stuff. That's why I'm surprised that he even brought me here.
Coming up on America's Court.
Were you aware, Mr. Reed, that there had been conversations between Clarence and Mr. Carlisle regarding your private mental health issues?
Not until Mr. Clarence emailed me.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Malik Reed, who is suing Evan Carlisle for invasion of privacy.
Well, you ultimately were talking about an opportunity that you felt you could pass on and he could benefit from.
Exactly.
Talk to me about that.
Exactly. So a friend of mine, Clarence, who I introduced him to, does a lot of work in the community, works with kids, works with youths, works kind of in the mental health department. So I figured it would be a good way for him to also have good community and someone that he could probably learn some things from. So I did connect the two, trying to do my part as a friend.
And Mr. Reed, when he connected you with this gentleman, did you in fact interview for the position?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you have known about the position but for Mr. Carlisle?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So in this particular instance, his referral bore fruit, if you will.
Yes, I had to go through a vetting process. But yes.
Okay.
Speak up.
And what was the vetting process? Mr. Carlisle?
I'm sorry.
I got this. And what was the vetting process, sir?
Pretty much I had to do a working interview for 2 weeks where he pretty much monitored my work
Were you
habits.
compensated during that 2-week period?
No, sir.
All right, so 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, what happened?
He sent me an email.
So you were supposed to work for 6 months, $1,000, and after 6 months, potentially full-time employment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes? And then there's a follow-up email. So you worked for how long, sir?
I worked for 2 weeks.
Well, that was the working
interview. And so I was working for about 60 days before I was terminated.
So what is that? That's about 10 weeks, $10,000? And you were terminated because?
And the second page of that email, I was terminated because Evan here thought it was a good idea to tell my new supervisor that I was having mental issues. So he told me I can't be a help if my health isn't on point. So he told me to take some time off and never return my call or reach back out to me.
Mr. Carlisle, did you convey to Mr. Clarence about Mr. Reed's mental state?
So, Your Honor, just to give you a little bit
Was there a conversation with Clarence about the defendant's mental state?
There was,
All right, so the answer is yes.
Yes, sir.
Got it, copy. Were you aware, Mr. Reed, that there had been conversations between Clarence and Mr. Carlisle regarding your private mental health issues?
Not until Mr. Clarence emailed me and told me I needed to take some time off.
So this was your first awareness that there were even conversations about you between the two of them other than initially the referral?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I'll come back to you, Mr. Carlisle. Why did you have a conversation with Mr. Clarence as it pertains to Mr. Reed?
Your Honor, I was concerned about my friend that I'd known for 3 years because, as he stated before, he was in therapy. Stopped going to therapy. He's giving you a little bit of a light version now.
That he had stopped going to therapy?
It was his behavior after he stopped going to therapy, but he just seemed to be in a dark place. He came to my chair. He came in, you know, obviously he wasn't working, so he come in sloppy, sweatpants, stains.
Wait a minute.
I just saw him declining.
Hold up. Mm-hmm. When he was in a dark place, was this before or after he had gotten the job?
Both. I think he was still struggling financially even when he got the position.
So he had done the working interview and then started with the initial 6 months, and during that 6 months, you noticed that his situation was deteriorating.
Yeah, he still, after he got the job, it still seemed like he going there with a bad attitude. Came to my hair, I didn't know who gave him the cut before the job. So he comes sit in the chair before the job, he's talking, he's still complaining, seeming real ungrateful. That now he's finally working, that I put him on, and he's still just coming in there with a bad attitude. Like, I'm the one who got you the job, don't come in my chair. It's almost an insult to me, Your Honor.
Well, that would be between you and Mr. Reed.
Correct. But when I started to notice
when I say that would be between you and Mr. Reed, how does Clarence then factor into a conversation? This is A and B. Clarence can see his way out of it.
Of course. Your Honor, I've got some evidence that I'd like to provide, if you don't mind, as well, that might give a little bit more context to the situation.
Well, answer my question first, though. So what is it about his circumstance that you felt comfortable sharing with Clarence information that you feel you obtained through your interaction?
Sure.
I had a better job.
He seemed like maybe he had a bad day, he had a bad moment. He was getting his hair cut, and he kind of rushed out and kind of left out already. I'm waiting for payments, and then he storms out, left, and there was a text message that I'll share with you where he made a comment talking about, I don't know if I want to be here anymore, which made me feel like he might try to end himself or end his life. So, you know, being a black brother, I wanted to...
Stop. He sends you a text message.
Yes, sir.
Saying, I don't know if I want to be here. Is that what you're telling me?
That is correct.
Coming up on America's Court.
That's not me complaining. You're asking me questions and I'm just barbershop talking. I stopped going to counseling because I felt better after I left the barbershop.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Malik Reed, who is suing Evan Carlisle for invasion of privacy.
Did you send Mr. Carlisle a text message saying, I don't know if I want to be here?
Yes, Your Honor. I will explain if you would allow me.
So the answer is yes, you did.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he misinterpret that message?
Completely.
Share with me why his behavior you think was out of pocket, because it sounds reasonable to me.
Your Honor, we're in a barbershop talking. We're having conversation that he's asking the questions. I'm not complaining, but if he asks, how's your wife doing? I'm still coming, trying to get over the hump. I just got this new job. She ain't really kind of believing in it yet, so we gonna wait and see what happens. I'll keep you updated. That's not me complaining. You're asking me questions and I'm just barbershop talking. I stopped going to counseling because I felt better after I left the barbershop. So I'm like, hey, let me save the money and pour into my kids. To be honest, Your Honor, I never knew what it felt like to be a father. I used to work 24/7 every day in the field, and finally when I lost my job, I actually enjoyed my kids. And so for me, Your Honor, it just really changed my life. But me talking to him, I thought it was helping me. I thought it was a safe space, but it wasn't. And I was talking about leaving the city. I had to go pick up my kids, Your Honor. I had to run and pick up my kids. The traffic's bad.
Are you saying that when you said, I don't want to be here anymore, you were talking about, I don't necessarily want to be in Atlanta anymore?
In the city, because it's busy. I got to race out the barbershop, run and get my kids. It's just hectic.
Coming up on America's Court.
I mean, it's one thing to say, you know, let me check in with his wife and just make sure he's good. Or maybe
he don't like that, Your Honor.
That could potentially even be problematic, because now you knows the parks.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Malik Reed, who is suing Evan Carlisle for invasion of privacy.
Did he convey to you that you misinterpreted, and why would you
He didn't
overstep your
convey
boundaries?
anything. He got up and walked out of my shop. That's why he was making his kids lunch. He didn't even pay me. He was rolling out of the barbershop. He didn't text me back. He left.
So
in a hurry.
everything that he just said doesn't necessarily track with your experience.
Not with my experience. So just to give you a little bit of backstory, Your Honor, I had a friend who ended up abusing some substances and, I think took his own life. Maybe he knew what he was doing, maybe he didn't, but I feel like I could have been there. And as you know, with men specifically, we don't talk about our problems. We just, hey, they brush it off. And he did a lot of brushing me off, and that was unlike his typical behavior. So I did get concerned. My own brother ended up struggling with alcohol, and I was able to intervene with him, spend some time with him, reach out to him, and now he's doing well. So I consider myself now to be my brother's keeper. So when I see somebody struggling, I want to do what I can.
Well, I get that you would consider yourself to be your brother's keeper. There are parameters that we have to operate under when we're talking about somebody else's livelihood, though. I mean, it's one thing to say, let me check in with his wife and just make sure he's good. Or maybe even
he don't like that, Your Honor.
That could potentially even be problematic, because now you nose the parks all up in other people's business instead of just handling your own business. But what we're looking at here is, and what I have to decide is, was there some sort of interference with his business relationship? Mr. Carlisle, you had Clarence on speed dial, clearly. When did you contact Mr. Clarence?
I hit him up the next day. Yeah, I'm the one who introduced him to Clarence, so I felt like I was doing my part and at least letting Clarence know what he was stepping into, what he was dealing with.
And what was the whole point of you letting Clarence know that he had said
He's about to go out and trying to start encouraging youth, encouraging the kids, and trying to be, a light to the community. How you gonna be a light when you dark? So I just said, hey, I'm referring you to this guy, Clarence, but
that seems more like you covering your own you-know-what.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program.
I don't necessarily think it was done intentionally per se, but it was somewhat reckless. Because this man has a family and he's got things that he's got to be responsible for. And I think he has proven it sufficiently based on the preponderance of the evidence. At the same time, this court is about equity and fairness. Do I think that Mr. Carlisle acted in somewhat good faith? Somewhat. So you're not going to get the full $15,000. You had worked 10 weeks, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to give you an additional $5,000 and not the $15,000 that you're asking for.
Your Honor, I just would like you to
You don't have to
consider.
respond. I'm just letting you know, because rather than you getting the $15,000, I'm not going to grant you that full amount. But I do think that there was some interference with your business relationship and that you should be compensated. And that amount is going to be reflective of that $5,000. That is the order. Case closed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $5,000.
Any final thoughts or words for each other?
So you wasn't malicious, bro? The judge just made a ruling.
Come on, bro. You know I wasn't malicious. I know who got you the job, man. And I ain't seen you since that moment.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.